Hey, hey, hey. Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to the game room.
What's up, guys?
Yo, yo.
Donte, how you doing up there?
I'm chilling.
All right. Don't let it get to your head that you're above me.
Oh, man. Let me enjoy
How
this.
you doing over there?
Hello down there.
All right. Nice to
I'm
see you.
so
And
confused.
EJ.
EJ.
How you doing, my
EJ
brother?
down there.
I'm doing great.
All
I'm
right.
doing great.
And hope all of you are well out there. Tonight is a very special episode of the game room because we are talking about something that is, at least for me, and I know for D, very close to our hearts, very close to our third eyes, is the topic of the UFO phenomenon and what we think about it. And I've been curious because I was thinking about this topic since last week.
Get ready for
about
this.
You know, we have all these people out there who believe and don't believe, and some people who are never going to believe. There's an old saying, and that saying is this, that for those who don't believe, no amount of evidence is sufficient.
Right.
And for those who believe, no amount of evidence is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know, they feel. And so some people have to have that the aliens came down in front of everyone. They were recorded. It was, you know, everyone could see it all over the world, and it was in HD. And
They
we
shook
interviewed
hands with the
them.
president,
We shook
yeah.
hands with the president and some citizens. And then they brought us some stuff from their planet, and they're here for a while. I think that even if that happened, there would be people out there going, no, it's
CGI.
it's CGI or it's a
makeup.
hoax.
They
Of
faked
course
it.
it is.
Of course.
Definitely.
So we're literally dealing with a subject that no matter what amount of evidence we talk about, some people who never believe it are just going to be like, well, it's not proven until I meet an alien. And I always say, even if first of all, how do you know if you ever met an alien?
How do you know?
Straight up.
You wouldn't know.
Right?
Men in
Damn.
Black. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they really they hit something there when they did like the spacesuits, the human suits.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Or the species looks exactly like us. Maybe something is like, you know, they have an 8th toe or something.
Mhm.
You know, who knows?
Is that why you're wearing those shoes? Right?
Yes.
Take them off right now.
Now you
G.
know.
Why are you hiding your eyes, Reef?
Oh, I'm hiding because I do not want, when the government comes, they're going to look at this pot and I'm going to be hiding. Like, who's that guy in the glasses and the hat? I can't figure it out.
Incognito.
that look works though, Reed.
Let me ask you guys this.
Yeah.
When did you first think about this? Because this isn't a question that is really ever asked, I don't know, amongst friends maybe. But was there a moment where you first heard about UFOs or you believed in it? Can you even remember that? Because we're kind of raised with even cartoons that are about aliens and movies.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
is
that's
we
my-
were
yeah.
raised on X-Men and things like that, supernatural
X-Files.
things.
Even
And
Power
X-Files.
Rangers.
Yeah, Power
Even
Rangers,
like,
all that.
like
They all had
Looney
aliens.
Tunes,
Uh-huh.
like Marvin the Martian.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Marvin the Martian.
And how they used to like go on Mars and,
Yeah.
like, and the moon and like all these episodes
Yep.
like that. It was crazy. Like,
Yeah.
Now, when was there ever a first discussion or a moment? Did you ever have a moment of, wait, there's really something here?
Not that I can specifically remember.
Not a serious
Yeah.
one.
It was
Not
around
a serious
high
one.
school for me, like around like 17, 18. I really started just kind of delving into it and like, wait a minute, there's really some stuff going on here. Like maybe this is something
Was this before or after your abduction when they probed you?
This was definitely before the probing because
Okay.
I wasn't having PTSD Googling it.
Right.
I'm glad Treep's like very open.
That
about
evidence
now.
got him
Like,
Yeah.
really deep.
Yeah, you know, I just it's what happens when you're on an archaeological dig. You know, you got to go deep.
True. That's a fact.
I don't want to know what they found. But here's the thing. For me, and I just want to share this little personal moment with you guys, is that I felt there was a show when I was a kid, and it was called In Search Of. And Leonard Nimoy, who played Mr. Spock on the original Star
Legend.
Trek.
Shout out to
Legend.
Spock, man. R.I.P.
Oh, God.
God bless his
I
soul.
could cry thinking about him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right?
such a legend.
And he just embodied that perfection of the hybrid human and alien, and it was incredible. We could do a whole episode about
Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, yeah, Leonard Nimoy. So he hosted a show called In Search Of. So it was before the internet, before cable television. It was on NBC. It was a half-hour show, and it explored the phenomenons of the world. So everything from aliens to Bigfoot to the Loch Ness Monster to the Bermuda Triangle. Do you guys know about the Bermuda
Yeah.
Triangle? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So it was about the Roswell incident, which was 1947, July, and pretty much everybody knows about this who's watching this. that Roswell was the scene of where a UFO crashed.
Mhm.
Actually, two. You want to know what's interesting? It actually didn't crash in Roswell. It crashed in a place called Corona.
Full circle.
Yeah, we're coming full circle.
Yeah.
Let's not get into
A little too
that.
fast,
Okay.
right?
So that's 60 miles, I think, north of Roswell, but Roswell Air Force Base
That's where they held
recovered the
it.
craft. They
Mhm.
actually put it out in the newspaper
Newspaper.
that the Air Force recovered a flying disc. Then I think the same afternoon, they denied it and said, actually, no, it was a weather balloon. So that, I've never been tired of watching, YouTube videos on that or documentaries on that. And I first learned about that when I was 9 years old watching In Search Of.
Mm.
So these things have perpetuated, or they have lived in the consciousness and grown more and more, where I think there was a poll done where like 70% of Americans believe that the government is
Wow.
withholding information about
Extraterrestrials,
vehicles.
yeah.
vehicles.
Mhm.
Even if it's a bacteria, shoot.
You guys remember that?
Which you can kind of understand too. Like, they wouldn't want to have mass panic, so they could have evil intent and say, "No, we want to hide this because we want PlayStation technology, whatever." but also they could have good intentions with, we can't let.
Maybe they know something we would be really frightened of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it'll make
Mm.
people. When you see Corona, people panic easily,
Right.
right?
I'm
so
always
maybe,
like, let the people decide.
hey, yeah,
Let the people decide.
you never know though. It could be
I agree with you though.
chaotic,
do
but I
agree
mean,
at the same time.
in my opinion, we should know. They should
Mm.
disclose
Mhm.
everything.
Do you think that information will come out in your lifetime where, like, I completely believe that it's all happened and we're in contact. Do you believe, though, that it will be in the public knowledge?
In my lifetime, yeah, I think so.
If I live a nice, full, long life, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. More on the tail end, because
But
I
also
don't know.
just with
Definitely.
the amount of everyone that has a camera in their pocket, and it's only gonna get to the point. And who knows? I always think, like, what if our cameras evolve to the point where we can see things that are there that we can't see with our eye?
Okay, that's a good point,
Okay.
because there's actual
Infrared.
videos online where someone was just shooting footage for, stock footage
Mhm.
of landscapes, and then they do time-lapse photography.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of videos out there now where there was a silver ball flying through the camera,
Mm.
through the frame,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and when the editor was editing it, he noticed something,
Mm.
and they tracked this object at going like 5,000 miles an hour.
Ooh, a
But
picture?
a video,
Oh, video.
Damn.
and you couldn't, and it's just on farmland, and then when they slow it down, you can see it.
Mm.
It's going so fast that on the slowest slow motion,
Mhm.
still
can
going
barely see
fast.
it. Wow.
so they had to go, try to go frame by frame.
Yeah.
And there's no explanation for anything that's going 5,000 miles an hour
Mhm.
in the middle of, and so people are writing on the internet, it's just a bird or it's just a
A
speck.
bird.
And I go, wow. At some point, logic just goes out the window, because if you don't believe in something, it's almost like, again, no amount of information is going to convince you otherwise.
Yeah, you'll have evidence to prove your point.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what, I know you guys are really into UFO phenomenon. So what incident or what in history have you thought about and said, now that is absolutely crazy, or that is really compelling?
Mm.
You guys know about the Phoenix Lights?
Well,
Phoenix Lights is the big one.
So tell them about the Phoenix Lights.
It was in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona.
1997, I think.
Okay, good. And it was like a huge mass sighting, and hundreds of reports, people calling saying, "What is in the sky?" We have videos, we have all that.
Mm.
What did the government say that it was? Do you know?
They said it was like some kind of military exercises of planes. But there were two incidences. The video that you can see looks like, I think, about 7 lights in the sky in formation.
Mhm.
Some people argue that they're flares, but they're in a perfect formation. And
Yeah.
anyway, there's more on that. And then there was a second set of incidences
Mhm.
where people in the greater Phoenix area
Mhm.
actually saw a giant triangular black, like gun black,
Mm.
metal
Metal,
black,
like, yeah. Like
flying,
graphite.
yeah, slowly and silently flying over their house.
Whoa.
And there's videos. I think there's a movie called I Know What I Saw.
Never
And-
heard of
Haven't
it.
seen that.
Yeah, you should see that. There's a few documentaries out there that I really like. One is I Know What I Saw. The other
Yeah.
is Out of the Blue. And I think it is I Know What I Saw, where they interviewed people who were in their backyard. And one guy said it was so big that it just blocked the stars. He goes, if I held a newspaper at a distance with my arms, it was blocking the stars. And do you know how big the craft has to be to do that?
Massive.
Yeah, it's massive. It's like 3 football fields or something.
Yeah.
No sound. I think that's really compelling.
Yes, that's crazy.
This is the technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen UFO?
You know,
or anything like that?
I have a few instances, and one is when I was really young driving from Las Vegas, which Area 51
That's-
is
yeah,
in
a
Nevada.
lot of
When you were
spots,
9
big
and stole a
spot.
family car?
What?
When you were 9 and stole the family car?
Yeah. Drove to Vegas. But I have memories, and I remember my family, we were all like, what is that in the sky? And it was a multicolored thing, and it looked like a disco ball. Multiple colors. And I have it
Wow.
ingrained in my memory. And it's like, I know how memories change over time. I know how, all that.
Yeah.
But things
But
like
this is
that.
Nevada, where
Nevada.
where Area 51 is.
Yeah, and my parents aren't like huge. Now my mom is, but my parents weren't huge UFO fans. But
Right.
everybody was in agreement of, what the hell is that?
Right.
And we kind of just kept driving.
Was it stationary
Totally still.
and pulsating different colors?
Like so many colors. It was like incredible. And like we were all asleep, and my dad was like, what the fuck is that?
How high was the object?
Pretty high.
How high were you?
Super. 9 years old. 9 years old. Every 9-year-old is high.
Yeah, let's just get
So
that
it's
on
like-
the table.
So I'm
No,
totally
take it off
aware.
the table, Reef. We don't want that on camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Save that for after the show.
But yeah, I
Now
mean,
you know why Reef is wearing those glasses.
glasses,
tonight.
yeah.
Yes.
Do I got a drip?
We actually see you more clearly when you wear dark glasses.
Oh.
Damn.
Okay, so you saw it.
I think.
Okay.
You know?
Can I tell you about? I've seen a few.
Okay.
Hey, what
So
you
first
think
of all-
you saw? I'm just kidding.
So first of all, I saw on my 40th birthday,
Mm-hmm.
we were in Tunisia. So Tunisia is North Africa, a small North African country. And my brother's married to a Tunisian woman, so I learned about the country. It's amazing beaches, it's beautiful, great food, great people. So I wanted to spend my 40th birthday there, so I invited all my friends. And they had said to me, well, what do you really want for your birthday? It's a big 40th birthday. And I said, I just want to see a UFO.
Wow.
I don't know why that came to my mind, but it did. So, of course, or maybe not of course, I did. So we're in the sea, on the beach. It's beautiful, crystal clear waters. And the ocean in Tunisia is amazing because it's such a high saltwater content that you can actually float very easily.
Oh.
Wow.
Almost anyone can float. So I'm floating. And the water couldn't have been more than 4 or 5 feet deep because I'm not a very good swimmer. But anyway, that's where I was. And I had a couple of friends with me. So I'm floating. And I'm looking straight up at the sky. It's all blue. It's daytime. And this bright white light, I see it from far away, just zoom, and it freezes right above me, way in the sky. And of course, I'm going, oh, maybe it's a plane, right? It was actually my first thought. And then it went bang, and it stopped on a dime, as they say, and then it flew off.
Which nothing that we have can do that.
Yeah.
No
I
technology.
mean, the speed had to be 2,000 miles an hour, at
Wow.
least the way how fast. Because I'm on the beach, you can see the horizon is so far,
Yeah.
right? And I kind of got up, I stood up, and I looked at my friend, and I said, I just saw a UFO.
Mm.
And there was another guy who was a friend of a friend, was like, yeah. And then I was floating again, this time 2 balls of white light out of nowhere above me, and then went like zigzag pattern, like very quick, and then went like this around each other. And then I heard one of my other friends go, wait, they're back, because they didn't believe me at first.
Whoa.
And there was like a change in the tone of the voice, because these were not people who believed. But when you saw it, you couldn't ever escape that.
Right.
And I watched them again. The 2 friends ran out of the water.
They got scared.
Yeah, and these are non-believers.
Yeah.
So that's how powerful the visual was.
Something was there.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
no way.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing moves like that.
Right.
And of course, it was an amazing moment for me personally because, so I asked for it and it happened. So what does that
Careful
mean?
what
Are
you
they
wish for.
listening to me?
Right.
Am I connected? I've had dreams also.
Same.
Oh, yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You've had dreams of being from somewhere else or seeing other things?
No, I've had dreams of, and I'm not sure, like, in sleep paralysis or in between, that weird state where you see your room.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say it was a dream, but I saw like a triangular metal thing, and just like Transformers, it moved and shined a blue light. And I woke up and I was like, okay, either it was a dream or that was happening, but there was my
It was a
brothers
blue
in the
light?
room. Yeah.
Like it had a blue light. Don't
Beautiful.
trust blue lights
Blue
behind
lights.
people.
Right, but so if it's a dream, right, then why would I dream that, right? I mean, I love UFOs, but it was so specific. And I think most people would probably say, even with what you saw, a skeptic would say, you hallucinated that, or your mind was playing tricks on you.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw something similar to what you saw.
You did. Tell me,
Yeah.
where was that?
I was at my mom's house. I remember the date. It was October 16th. It was like 2013.
Mm.
And I was chilling at the pool area, same open horizon kind of area. It wasn't probably as open as the sea, but it was just clear sky.
Right. In the valley, right?
In the valley.
So there's,
just
big sky.
Big sky. And the same situation I see, except it came from behind me. I was chilling at the pool, and it just zips right in front of my view, like very slowly comes in my view. And I look up, I'm like, that star wasn't there before. Like, what the heck is that? And then it starts moving real slow. Okay, I'm like, it's alive. And then, boom, just takes off right into the sky. Just like gone, vanishes.
Incredible.
It was, man, I'll never, like, I remember the date. Like,
Yeah.
now I tell the stories like nothing, but like those like 2 years, 3 years, like I just like always kind of kept that with me and felt it was me by myself. Like,
Because
it
there's a
was
feeling
insane.
that happens,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Yeah, there's a feeling.
It's
feel
insane.
something.
It's
It's
not like you're
insane.
just looking at some visual anomaly.
No.
You just get a feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A presence. You know, you feel something.
Yeah.
And it kind of sparks something in you, like, what was that? I
And then,
always
like
think about that.
like you said, it almost felt like it was for me at the same time too. I didn't ask to see UFO like you did, but it kind of felt like they were watching.
Like it was personal, like it
Yeah,
was for you.
felt very personal.
So we live across the street from the ocean, and before we lived up on the mountain, and we got a telescope because we would see strange lights, and we were interested. Maybe we should get a telescope and just look at these lights, because Malibu's really has a history between Malibu and Catalina Islands.
Tons of sightings.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
there's that theory about the underground.
The
Base
bases,
or
the
something.
alien bases underground. Yep.
So we got a telescope, and I was sitting watching TV one night, and Araya's outside, and she's like, Riz, oh my God. And I just got up and went and looked, and she's like, look. She was looking, and we pointed over. She was pointing over where Topanga is, and there was just a dot. It looked like a very bright star. And so I looked in the telescope, and literally was a silver disc, but not on its, like flat. It actually was up like a coin. And I could see a center ring, and there were little blue electrical like lights coming
Blue
from
light.
the center. Blue light coming from the center out,
Wow. That's incredible.
and just like this.
Mm.
So, and I kept staring at it. It did not move.
Mm.
I could see it as clear as day in that telescope. So what is it? Is it man-made? Is it, people will say, well, it doesn't prove it's from another
It's
planet.
the government, which it could be. I
could be.
I could totally believe that the government has.
Sure, I would expect them to, and in fact, I would
By
want them
now.
to.
Yeah,
It's
right?
been
Right.
happening for a long
Yeah.
time, right? The UFO phenomenon in America.
Well, what about those cave paintings where people are pointing to the sky and there's discs with lights around them? They're also classical paintings.
In Indian culture, I don't know what they're called.
Vimanas.
Vimanas.
Yes, they're
Those are-
referred to as
yeah.
space vehicles. But
Even in
But-
the Bible, the book of
Bible,
Ezekiel,
hieroglyphics as well.
so
in
Ezekiel
Egypt.
saw a wheel, is what they said in the Bible.
wheels of fire.
Mm.
Incredible. And the paintings of them they look like.
There's paintings from the
Spaceships.
1600s that have a disc with lights beaming light down.
Mhm.
Wow.
One actually that is about the nativity, that there's a scene of the nativity.
Jesus, right?
There's of Jesus,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep. I think there was like an original copy that had that in it, or like the original version, and then like they later took out the UFO.
Doctor did.
They took out the
They
UFO?
took
Wow.
out
I
the
heard that
UFO,
about the
modern
Mona Lisa.
versions.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear that about the Mona Lisa? No, there's a...
they blotched out. I don't even know if anyone's ever seen the real Mona Lisa. First of all,
We did.
We did.
Are you sure?
Oh.
Damn.
He's
You got
going,
us.
he's going Da Vinci Code on us.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, Tom Hanks. But yeah, what about like Bob Lazar?
Okay, so Bob Lazar is
Yeah.
a gentleman who is a physicist and claims, I believe absolutely he did. He worked, I think it was Los Alamos Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Area 51, basically.
Around there. Yeah.
That he worked there and reverse engineered UFOs, actual extraterrestrial vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob Lazar's interviews can all be seen online. There's
Yeah.
documentaries about him.
Yeah.
And what I found so compelling about Bob Lazar, one interview in particular, I think he was on Coast to Coast, where a physicist who was a skeptic
Mm-hmm.
called up thinking, who's this guy? He's not a real physicist, and these
Mm-hmm.
claims are ridiculous about how UFOs work. So the physicist was grilling him, and Bob was answering the questions.
Back to back.
Oh man,
Yeah.
he was just a boss in the interview. He was saying, actually, no, that element can't work because you would have to have this. Or, I mean, the knowledge that
genius.
he's a
super
genius.
smart.
He's super smart.
He put a jet engine in a Honda when he was a kid. When he
Really?
was a
That's
teenager.
crazy.
Why have I
What?
never heard of
Okay,
this guy
and
before?
so that's why they reached out to him, because it was in the Los Alamos newspaper.
That's right.
Yeah.
They said, who's this genius kid?
And so somebody with that kind of intellect, are they really that crazy to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna risk my whole life
Right.
and just tell a lie?
And ruin his life because
Pretty
they're
much
not
ruin his
making
life.
these people are not worth they don't have a huge net worth at all. They're still having
Exactly.
simple jobs. He still has a
Yeah.
lab that he works out of.
Yeah.
And they weren't seeking fame. It wasn't like they got a Netflix show out of it, especially
Right.
back then.
Yeah.
So these people, especially now, if you watch a documentary called The Disclosure Project, you guys heard
Stephen
of that?
Greer.
Yeah.
Yes, I am familiar.
What did you think of that?
Honestly, thought it's just I do not see any reason why all of these Air Force generals, pilots. I mean, if you look it up, there's countless people
Yeah.
in that report. And when I look at the interviews of them speaking, I'm like, he has nothing to lie about.
Right.
He is on, like, he's literally like 60, 70 years old, some of them. They're at the end of their lives. They're
These
not
are
trying to tell
like
lies.
men's men, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
100%
Colonels,
white
yeah.
collar, blue
Yeah,
collar. They went to
generals.
the army, this, that.
They served in tours
Yeah.
of wars.
Men of
They have
integrity.
family. They're men of integrity that have a
Yeah.
kind of
They
strength.
have no reason.
And that's what pissed me off, man, because I saw some interview, I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson or Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah.
These are just like shills. I don't know what they think they're doing. And they're like arguing on Larry King with like a 5-star general. It's like you're like a punk
Yeah.
compared to this man.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell him that no, he didn't see alien bodies. Oh, and he didn't see the craft, and he didn't see a beam of light coming down from it.
Yeah.
And I found it really offensive that these guys are perpetuating this with a smirk on their face. And either they are, I don't know, working for somebody else, or they are just completely ignorant, and that's it.
Right.
Totally.
Because how are you going to argue? You can argue with several generals, several Air Force commanders, several air traffic controllers, guys in the Navy, and all the branches of the military, guys who are working in technology, who are coming forward and giving you this evidence
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
and telling you what they have seen.
Yeah.
They're
It
not
takes years to build that credibility in the army too. If you want to rank up, they're just not ranking up any Joe Schmo to a
Right.
general. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's a very elite position.
So that goes to show you that the nature of belief is such that it doesn't matter what anybody says. And you can probably show film footage, and there probably is actual film footage of actual aliens out there.
Right.
If you ever read a book called The Day After Roswell, that was written by Philip Corso, who was a high-ranking military official. He's since passed away, but I'm so grateful to him to put that book out because it really challenges your idea of what is real or not, because there's no reason for someone of his stature who's done so much for the country to come out and just make up a story. They don't make millions of dollars.
Right.
They're actually risking a lot
Yeah,
by
they're
doing
discrediting themselves in a way because
Right.
you know how people look at it.
that. Right.
And of course, there are people that are absolutely crazy and
Right.
lie and make up stuff. And
Oh yeah,
You know,
especially
so-
nowadays with the internet
yeah.
and everything.
yeah.
Yeah, so he said that one time he was in the supermarket and those like gossip papers. There's one called the National Enquirer. And
Just
that?
like Men
The
in
worst
Black.
of the worst.
And he said that wait, what do you mean just like Men in Black?
That's where what's his
remember
name?
that scene.
Jay.
Yeah.
What's his name?
The old guy.
What's his name? Jay. Is
No,
that
he was
the
K, I
letter?
think.
K.
I think it was
Yeah,
K.
K's letter.
Yeah,
He go literally. They're like, "What are we doing? We're going to gather intel," and they just pull up to one of those bodegas in New York with
That's
all the gossip.
right.
going on.
Okay, so that must
that's
be
right.
from. Okay, so that book came out way before Men in Black,
Yeah.
and he said that the way that they covered stuff up was take
Putting-
the most outrageous part of the truth, which was
Oh
like
my
we have the
God.
alien bodies, we have pictures of it, and put it out there in newspapers
Plain
like
sight.
that.
Wow.
Yeah. So
He said
go,
because
"Oh,
people would go, "That's so ridiculous. Look how fake that looks."
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
genius.
That's,
really.
Yeah.
that's actually smart.
And so what you're doing is you're also desensitizing the public to when it does actually get revealed. At the same time, you're discrediting the whole idea. So now people are just, I don't know, who
Yeah.
cares? It's not important.
Wow.
for
That
sure.
just blew my mind a little bit.
It's wild.
What
Yeah.
about Betty and Barney Hill? You guys believe that one?
Okay, so do you know about Betty and Barney Hill?
Who's that?
So Betty and Barney
I've heard of
Hill
them.
were a couple. I think this is 1961 in New Hampshire. It's one of the most famous abduction cases.
It's like the first one, right? That was reported.
Absolutely. And what's amazing to me, it's 1961. Again, what is compelling about this case is this couple was an interracial couple.
Mm-hmm.
So he's black and she was white in 1961.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, much respect,
For sure.
right? And they were driving along a road.
Yeah, they're on their way home
Yep.
in New Hampshire.
And then New Hampshire, and of course, basically they lost like 2 hours of time. They didn't know where they were. They remember seeing a light. They remember seeing something land on the road. They remember seeing figures in the ship. All of this happened in a hypnotic regression, and they were examined by the aliens. And what was also compelling is that she was telepathically communicating with the alien and she asked him, "Where did you come from?" And a star map kind of appeared on the wall, like a hologram or something. And he showed it to her. These are the star patterns. Now, she was a very simple woman in 1961. In hypnotic regression, she drew the pattern and gave some descriptions about where this is. And it was true. There is a star system that does have that pattern in the way that she described it.
That's pretty incredible.
Pretty incredible, right? She
Yeah.
also had some powder on her dress that was like a pinkish material. What?
What do you think about cocaine?
Hey,
I know
I'm
what
just-
you're thinking about.
I'm just
Aliens
saying.
turning up.
1961.
Is this before or after she had her medication?
So it was 1961.
Yeah.
And so there's actual audio of the hypnotic regression sessions,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not fun to listen to it.
Wow.
Yeah, because there's a lot of fear in Barney's voice especially.
Mm.
And he and you can hear the authenticity of it. They were not looking for that kind of publicity. Why would they even seek publicity, being the interracial couple that they are in 1961? It's like they just want to fade into the background of life
Exactly.
at
They
that
don't
point.
want attention.
Way before the internet too, you know.
Her granddaughter, I think, is now a proponent and talking about the legacy of them.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So I think it's really important that people, again, know about these incidences and to watch those documentaries. And I think that even in movies now, where you guys were talking about Men in Black, there's been so many movies that are about the alien phenomenon or life on other planets, and they're still successful. People aren't tired of it. And I don't even mean Star Wars. I mean, like we have what is the one, Brad
Prometheus.
Pitt, Prometheus.
Arrival.
Yeah.
I've seen
Arrival.
That's
Ooh.
my favorite.
Yeah.
Arrival.
That's probably the best one in my opinion.
Arrival was on another level.
Arrival is on another level. Incredible.
All right, let's go on. What are your favorite alien movies?
Fourth
Don't
Kind.
say Star Wars.
Fourth
though.
Kind.
No, yeah.
Fourth Kind.
I never saw it.
You never saw
Close
that?
Encounters.
Oh wait, is that the one where they talked about owls?
I believe they did,
It
but
was like
you just-
psychiatric sessions.
Yes, you just explained basically what the Fourth Kind was like with the hypnotic sessions that they did.
Oh
with these
right,
people.
I do remember that
They
one.
tied in some actual footage, like real life footage of these hypnotic sessions.
Right.
And they like put them next to like the acting version of the actors who were reenacting. It was crazy. It was
Oh, that
insane.
sounds dope. I gotta see
And
that.
just like the reactions and everything that they had, they were so authentic. They were hard to listen to. They were hard to watch.
Whoa.
I do remember it because they
It
kept talking about
was-
the eyes.
Have you guys seen District 9?
Oh,
I haven't seen
classic,
it.
man.
I love that.
Oh,
Peter Jackson. produced
that?
it, I think. Yeah, he produced it.
Beast.
Wow,
That
no
movie's
wonder.
so good.
It was hardcore.
We're still waiting for part 2. That's like the one movie I'm like, give us a sequel. Like I'm down. Yeah,
It was hardcore.
yeah. This is a gnarly movie.
What about you, Reed?
Do you think that
You
could
got another
happen
one,
where
D?
there could be an alien takeover?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Why
why
not?
not?
I feel
Yeah.
like it's easy. We're sitting
But
down.
also-
We're up. What's next? What's next now?
Yeah,
It's like that's
but also
probably
it's
the
like-
next thing.
right?
If they wanted to, like, if there were aliens on Earth now and they wanted to, we'd be dead already, right? Like, what's keeping them from just taking over already?
Because they need the resources here.
They need us.
They need us.
Need us
Mm.
alive.
They need our apps,
Yeah.
Wow.
PlayStations.
PlayStations,
Play-
our
Yeah.
cereal,
Wow.
Yeah.
our Rice Krispie treats.
Well, if they were really smart, yeah, they would infiltrate the government and lead from behind the scenes. That'd be smart.
Whoa, that's crazy. I mean, that would explain why they get so old and never die.
Who, politicians?
Yeah,
lot
I've seen
of
a lot of 90-year-old politicians out there.
Yeah.
There's did you ever see that there was so that's one of your favorite movies? Yours is District
Yeah.
one of them is
Mhm.
District 9. How
Arrival's
about you,
number
Reef?
1.
Arrival's number 1.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, there's so many to choose. I probably have to go with probably Men in Black, just because we're talking about
It's
it
just
recently off the
classic.
top. Yeah, it's just such an easy go-to for me. Cause
Would you be
I watched
surprised
it
if
so
all of that
much.
was real? The Men in Black
No.
scenario.
I think
It
they
wouldn't
tied in
shock
a
me.
lot of actual things that are real, like into the movie, and they
Right.
maybe twisted it. I don't know. Maybe the whole thing is
The
real.
last one was awful.
Because they're not getting it. Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about 2 and 3. We could just focus on 1.
Yeah.
One,
No, I like 2.
1 is where it's at. 2 is cool. I think 3 is probably 1 and 3.
I walked out of 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
that's
like
the one
it
with
with the
Thor
young
was in
Will
it.
Smith.
No,
That's 4.
No.
That's,
Oh,
that's,
4,
That's Men
sorry.
in Black
3 are the best.
International. Yeah.
2 is the one with Rosario Dawson when she cries and like it rains.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
not a good movie.
Oh, so then I must be talking about 3.
Yeah,
Because
it
I
was
don't
so
remember the
good
Rosario
they
Dawson
tied
one.
it over. Yeah, it's
Okay.
3.
Yeah.
And it was when he was a younger guy. I forgot Tommy Lee Jones' character.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
great.
I
And like it
remember
was
that.
all from the beginning.
With the
He
young
had
Will
been
Smith.
watching
I watched
Will
that with
Smith.
my dad. He cried.
So heartfelt. That movie's so good. It's
That
so
was his
good.
emotional
Well,
moment in life.
Man, he loves Will Smith. He loves alien movies,
Yeah.
sci-fi, and that was like the last movie.
Wow.
I shouldn't say anything. My first time I ever cried in a movie was in
You
Star
cried.
Trek 2 when Spock died.
Mine was
Oh.
E.T. Mine was E.T. when I was like 8, and they re-released it in theaters.
Really? That
And
was
I'm
the
a
first movie
kid,
you
and I'm
cried
like,
in?
what is this feeling?
Wow.
And he's laying in the ditch all white. I'm like, man, what did they do to my boy? Like, dang.
My boy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's a
Did you
bunch
see
of good movies.
Contact with
Contact's
Jodie
good.
Foster?
Yeah.
It
I saw
just-
that.
I've tried to rewatch
You wonder
it.
there wasn't enough
Kinda
aliens
boring,
in it.
man.
Nah,
I know.
yeah, man. Come
But
on.
the
Like,
end is really incredible.
The-
I'm not
the
gonna
last
spoil
scene
it.
makes
The
it.
last scene.
It's
Well, you
alright.
could listen. Nobody's rushing out to see Contact right now. You
No.
can tell the ending.
Yeah, I know. True.
Basically,
yeah, 40 years too late.
40 years
It's
is
been
spoiler
20
alert.
years. But I do think that Contact was great, but it just took. First of all, we never really saw an alien.
Mhm.
Nope.
It took too long. You know what scared me was that the device, because it was so big.
Oh, like the gyroscope
that
thing?
was
That
cool.
scared me.
Yeah, yeah.
The size of it
wild.
was so real.
Yeah.
It was very compelling.
Have you seen Mission to Mars?
Was that
Don
Don
Cheadle?
Cheadle?
Yeah.
Wait, no,
Oh
I thought that
my
was
God.
Matt Damon.
He was
No,
no.
that's a
That's a
different
different
one.
one. That's a different Mars
Yeah.
movie.
That's The Martian.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Martian.
yeah,
which
yeah,
had
yeah.
no freaking Martians in it.
Plants.
I'm there like, oh, it's like
I'm glad I
so
missed
deep
that.
aliens.
He
Like
was gardening
he's
on Mars
gardening
for
and
3
like,
hours.
Man, they played us on that one.
Just like
I'm
7
glad I didn't
plums
see that.
on
Such a
I was
Mars.
like,
clickbait.
gardening's as boring on Mars as it is here. That's
But,
what I learned from that movie.
What about Signs? See, Signs. Okay,
Ooh.
Signs.
I was
is
in that movie. I
Shyamalan.
directed that movie.
Oh
didn't
yeah,
know?
you did.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I was in the gym one time in the Bronx when Sixth Sense first came out,
yeah.
and I was like doing curls at the gym, and his brother comes up to me. He's like, looking at me like this. You know, like when brothers look at you, it's like,
Yeah.
I was like, am I-
Shmamala? M. Night
that's
Shyamalan?
what I told you. He goes, excuse me,
Shyamalan.
He's like, excuse me, and I said, yeah, I didn't mean to bother you while you're working out. And I was like, yeah. He's like, but are you M. Shyamalan? I was like, what you say about my mama? And we just threw down in the gym.
Man.
But he
Steady
literally-
there.
and I didn't know who he was talking about
Yeah.
until I realized he's saying Shyamalan.
Yep.
And I said, no, I'm not him. And he was like looking at me like,
Sure.
Don't
you
play me
you don't
like
have to lie.
you don't have to lie about that. I'm not going to, say anything. And I was like, I'm not him. Then, literally 2 weeks later, I'm on the subway in New York. I'm leaning against the doors. There's a woman. She's holding a bouquet of roses, like older Puerto Rican lady, and must have been like maybe her granddaughter or something. And I'm leaning up the door, and she's smiling at me. She's like this. I was like, okay. I smile back, you know. And then the granddaughter's looking at me, and she's like, look at him. And then she says, my granddaughter loves your movies. And I'm like, wow. I said, oh, I'm not.
I wanted to take
I'm
credit.
I was like, I'm not M. Shyamalan. And
what an interesting career he's had. M. Night
Yeah.
Shyamalan, right?
yeah.
The rise and fall.
The highest of highs, lowest of lows.
Yeah.
But I just don't.
Signs was crazy.
Signs. The thing is, I was gonna compare. So Signs is like on one end of the spectrum. Then you have Arrival. When I left Signs, I was like looking around my house. All the lights were on. I was scared.
Yeah.
It didn't leave me with the feeling of like, yeah, you know, everything's connected.
Right.
Arrival was like so beautiful, and it was about
Yes.
time and how it's not linear, and how everything's connected. And
Right. There's a deep meaning to
Yeah,
it.
it was so
It was a positive
beautiful.
energy in Arrival.
yeah, like she got to see her daughter live and die early, and she still chose to have it. You know, so deep. That movie, we can talk about an entire episode.
Okay.
But Signs is like, I hate the horrifying alien movies. Like Prometheus was supposed to be one of the best
It
alien
started
movies.
off on a great note.
Prometheus was gonna be.
I think
so
I blocked
fire.
Prometheus out of my consciousness.
forgot it,
Yeah,
right?
I need
I
hypnotic
understand.
regression, EJ.
It's understandable.
Okay, how about this? Alien Covenant Part 2, Prometheus Part 2,
Oh,
technically.
man.
Do you remember that?
There's
Yeah,
a part
bro.
2?
Yeah.
Trash.
I was so
Trash.
anticipated. Oh.
Yeah. Prometheus was so good.
What was it about?
Alien Covenant was supposed to be the continuation of Prometheus, but I think they realized people didn't understand
Well,
Prometheus.
what was Prometheus about?
Oh, it's a
Prometheus was
prequel
about
to Alien. I think,
Prometheus was about the civilization that had a hand in creating human beings. So the first scene in Prometheus to me is like one of the best scenes ever. It was just so incredible.
So aliens had a hand in making human beings.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you guys believe that's true?
I don't
totally
see
am
why it
open-
couldn't be true.
100% open to
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
I mean,
Now,
I
that
feel
doesn't take
There
out
we
the
go.
God factor because
No.
people go, well, no, I believe God made us. But maybe if you believe in God, God made those aliens
Yeah.
exactly
that made us.
Well,
Exactly.
they were even going to include the alien Jesus theory in Prometheus.
Alien
Yeah.
Jesus, that's the new name of my
Alien-
band.
Alien Jesus.
I was trying to find the right name for my band.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say Prometheus had so much potential, but dropped the ball.
Yeah, it's something about when they go into that like horror like aspect. They kind of lose me because I'm
Yeah.
like, I understand there's those kind of aliens for sure,
Yeah.
but in my world, I like to see maybe a movie where the aliens are just a little more contributing
Not
instead
just
of just
Yeah.
monsters went into
You
like,
know?
yeah, exactly.
They don't know how to speak. They don't have any technology. There's like
Yeah.
none of that. They're just chasing humans.
Yeah.
You know, I like
Yeah.
to see them do more interactive things.
Yeah, they need to contribute to our society more.
Yeah, seriously, they ain't voting.
Like all the aliens. My parents came from India and contributed. They're coming from Saturn and not contributing.
those are different kind of aliens. Those are illegal aliens.
Funny that we use that word alien to aliens
Straight
from other planets or dimensions, or we're the aliens.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Nobody ever thinks about that.
Yeah.
From a perspective of an ant, you come along, you're an alien. That ant's never seen you.
Exactly. Or seen one part of you. So the have you guys seen that film? I'm trying to remember the Interstellar.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Which is technically an alien film.
It is.
Yeah.
Technically.
Technically.
That terrified me. There was
Really?
parts that terrified me. Because the part where they beamed down to the planet for 10 minutes and came back and it was like 22
Oh
years.
yeah, on the water planet.
Man.
Yo, that was crazy.
I felt for that guy.
That water scene was horrible.
Yeah.
I was disturbed by that scene.
Mm-hmm.
And that machine that was like,
The Jarvis.
is that what it's called?
Yeah. I think so.
It was like
or
just
that's from
like
Avengers.
bro,
My mind is-
Yeah, that is Jarvis. Yeah.
It might be Jarvis.
got me.
Yeah. I
Even
just saw
dead, I'm the
Interstellar
hero.
recently.
That's
And that
Called
talking
Jarvis.
zebra? Oh, that's Madagascar. Sorry.
But
Right.
it's,
So,
it's funny because that robot is like exactly the same design as like the one from 2000: A Space Odyssey,
which
like,
was a flip phone,
super
basically.
silly. Yeah, exactly.
Motorola.
Can I tell you about 2001 Space Odyssey? So I went to see it.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Mm.
I went to see it in the theater. They were doing a retro called Handpicked at Cinepolis. Did we talk about this?
Maybe.
We might have probably talked about it at the house.
Yeah,
Probably.
probably off cam.
Okay, so that was made a long time ago. And they actually had to build sets, right? There was no CGI,
Yeah, and
really.
they stitched
Incredible.
the scenes together, which that technique is like revolutionary.
I have such a new respect for that film. I
Mm.
never knew what the big deal was,
For sure.
because it wasn't in my era, apparently. And so when I watched it on the screen, it's so clean.
Mm.
Knowing what we know about what technology was back then,
Mm-hmm.
Stanley Kubrick and his team did an unbelievable job. They built actual sets. There's a set where there's a person on the ship since there's no gravity, or they have like kind of gravity boots. She
Spinning.
walks in a circle.
Yeah, it's like a hamster wheel.
Yeah, and they actually made the device. Everything had to be built. You know, you couldn't just add walls and a ceiling. Like now, when you see films, they'll do a piece of the set, but then everything else is a green screen. Even the chair is a chair covered in green. So
every time I think about that film, the scene is like when they're cavemen or the apes,
the opening scene.
and they throw the bone up in the air and then it falls down, and it was kind of saying like how the first weapon was a bone, and every tool that humans get, they eventually turn into weapons.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is crazy. But what do you think about the theory that Stanley Kubrick helped fake the moon landing? What do you think about that?
So for
A lot of
people who
people
don't
believe
know,
that.
a lot of
Yeah.
people believe that the footage from the moon was faked.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the footage absolutely could have been faked. I believe we went to the moon, but I think that probably we saw things and discovered things from, if you watch these documentaries, that we couldn't share. One of the things, we probably should do a whole episode on the moon thing, but I'll just say one thing about the moon situation. I don't understand that. How were they speaking in real time?
That's what I don't get.
Because the signal is so clear. You're
It's-
telling me somebody can be on the moon in 1969 and you can be here on Earth, and the radio transmission is like, the lag wasn't that
Yeah, like when he said they
long.
landed, everyone saw it at the same time.
fairly close.
Yeah. It's like,
Wow.
what?
And so, like, you know, you go in the other room and I have cell phone problem calling you. Now, maybe there's a clear scientific explanation for that, where someone who understands, you know, wireless communication
Yeah,
or radio
bullshit.
transmission signals, right? Exactly. But come on. That part really I'm curious about.
Right?
They put it in Transformers. I remember one of the Transformers movies.
Yeah,
They go to the
Transformers
moon,
2.
Dark Side of the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the moon, and it was the moon landing, and then they saw, instead of aliens, it was the Transformers. They're like, get off our lawn.
So Interstellar, that kind of freaked me out. My favorite
Interstellar,
alien movie, though,
incredible.
I'm really trying to think what it possibly could have been, because
Mars Attacks.
like when you actually
love that
see,
movie,
you know what?
man.
See, I haven't
Such weird
seen one.
vibes, though. When you look it up.
I was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one that really satisfies me yet.
Arrival did it for me, man.
Yeah, but they were octopuses. Octopi.
Heptapods, excuse me.
Octopus.
Hey, man.
What you got against octopuses?
Yeah, come on.
But when I see the alien, you know, I kind of want to see.
But what if it looks like an
Octopuses are
octopus? When you look at an
definitely
octopus,
aliens,
You can't be
bro,
too
like-
attached to the
yeah,
image.
and they
You
have
gotta be
camouflage
open.
and they can turn into anything.
And they
you
shoot
know, like-
ink like
Yeah.
they have no no.
I'm down for
no
octopus
eyes, like,
aliens,
oh
you know?
yeah.
You
I'm down
are.
for
Yeah.
anything, yeah.
Just Air
That's
Force
the-
One.
Let's get the ball rolling.
That'll be choice 2 for my band name.
Anything.
Octopus
Alien
aliens.
Jesus, octopus aliens. Okay,
These are all my Halloween costume ideas.
but okay. So, but are there any alien movies that you go, well, that's an actual possibility? So, I think Men in Black is actually.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
The funny is the most cartoonish one in a sense, but I
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
feel that could be.
Definitely.
It
What
only
about,
makes it only makes sense though that they did it that way if they're gonna relay some truth, that they bring it in a comedic kind of way.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised
for
no
sure.
one mentioned Lilo and Stitch.
Oh,
Wait, what about Rick and
animated,
Morty?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, true.
I love that
damn.
show.
Rick and Morty is crazy.
Do you think that, let's say that the entire thing is true, that there are aliens that are in cahoots with all different people in different organizations, and the public doesn't know about it? Do you think that we're even like genetically linked to them? Do you also think that we are being desensitized or like sort of prepared through movies and television? Because General Corso, in that book, The Day Before Roswell, he said that they were consultants on Close Encounters. That's my favorite alien movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Great one.
You should see it when it's on the big screen,
Yeah, I need to see it in theaters.
I'm pretty
because
sure
they
I've seen that.
capture. I think there's scenes you don't remember.
No, I
Like,
haven't
do you
seen that in a
remember?
long time,
You've
dude.
seen it though, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene in the desert where there was an aircraft carrier they found in the desert?
Okay,
No.
no, I gotta rewatch it.
I only remember the
I feel
end.
like that would be a huge scene to remember.
Yeah.
I forgot that scene
It's been
until
like
I saw it in the
15
theater.
years, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, he said that they had their own consultants on that film because
Wow.
the last scene, Corso says, actually happened.
Well, do you remember when they did the War of the Worlds broadcast on the radio back then? Like
Orson Welles.
Yeah, Orson Welles, and like literally everyone was losing their shit.
Didn't Steven
and they thought it
Spielberg
was
do that?
real?
Close Encounters?
Yes.
I think so.
And
yeah.
then he did War of the Worlds too, right? Steven
Yeah,
Spielberg.
Did he?
produced
He
it.
produced
And
it and
directed
and he
it.
did E.T. Steven,
E.T.
we want answers.
Yeah. They say
He
that
knows something.
No, for sure.
Steven
And I
knows
think he
something.
did another
He
one
has
also.
to.
Probably.
There's another one he was a part of.
Mm. Oh yeah, Ready Player One.
Terminator. That's another alien movie. Kind of.
Is it
Kind of. I mean, it's about future and stuff like that.
futuristic
but I
growth?
don't know.
Kind of.
The rapper?
Terminator
Terminator 5.
Mask
So
off.
let me ask you this. So if you are watching something like Close Encounters, right, where it seems to be very rational when you watch that film because it isn't about aliens landing in silver suits and, taking over.
Mm-hmm.
It's about this man's journey of watching and his awakening happening
Mm-hmm.
and the hysteria that happens amongst people. Do you guys think that if there was alien disclosure that people would, at this point in 2020, lose it?
I think so, because a lot of our beliefs in society, there's a lot of context in our society, especially when it comes to things such as like religion, where it conflicts so heavily with some of the things that are in those texts that I feel like naturally would just be blasphemous to go against that. Some people believe very firmly, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So would they think, okay, let's say that it does happen, though. Do you think that they'll believe that it's like satanic or demonic and they're the enemy?
Yeah, the
They'll
thing is the Day of
definitely-
Judgment.
Probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
they think it's the Day of Judgment.
Yeah, I mean,
Probably.
if you look at any of the texts for like the past like 10, 20 years, anything that said in the Day of Judgment, there's going to be disease.
Hold on,
there's
let me
gonna
check my
be
text right now. You
Buildings,
said-
there's going to be.
I gotta check my text.
Yeah,
you said.
no, my text, like, biblical text, like archival,
like in all caps, you mean?
books. Yeah. TXT text.
All right. So do you think everybody's too religious to think that it's a
Not
good
everybody.
thing?
I just think that there's a lot
Right,
of that
most-
going around.
probably
And I feel
split
like
down
that's
the
the
middle.
majority of the biggest problem.
I think it's
Maybe.
gonna.
I think our generation, like younger kids, are just like, oh, there's aliens. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be like hundreds of different kinds of groups of people acting in different kinds of ways.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's no actual intelligent discussion that is getting into mainstream media.
Mhm.
I mean, you
It's
have
hard.
your
There's a lot
specials
of-
now and again that, I don't really see it that much anymore. I mean, I don't watch
Mhm.
television really.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, I guess you can access things on the internet,
Yeah.
but nobody really talks about it.
Nah.
Where like kids in middle school who really know about Roswell. To them, Roswell is a TV show,
Right. It's true.
right? So that's interesting about what we're teaching them. So you said you were shaking your head like, no, they're not. People aren't really going to freak out.
I think it's going to be split in half. I think there are going to be people that freak out, but I think
Mhm.
the majority are just going to be like, oh, that kind of makes sense. I think people are. Didn't the Vatican even come out and say they
Yes.
acknowledge the fact that there's probably
Yes.
UFOs?
Yes.
Maybe.
When things like that, huge religious, powerhouses like that,
They'd have to reassure the people.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I think definitely there will be people like buying guns and stuff ready to fight the aliens for sure. Which is probably why they haven't landed.
Because they'd have to annihilate us.
Like,
They'd be-
damn,
you
yeah, we're
know,
gonna have to vaporize you guys.
I know. It's
We're
like,
just
stop.
trying to like bring you guys,
In.
so, yeah,
right into the unity of the galaxy.
yeah. So
Yes.
you're gonna
Yes.
shoot us.
Exactly.
I wouldn't doubt it for a second.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about abduction cases.
Dum dum dum. Elijah.
Reef.
Why are we all looking at Elijah?
Yeah, I know. I feel like you'd be the one to get abducted and
I
not
know,
say anything. Just be
exactly.
like, well, actually,
we want to get abducted. And he's like,
Oh yeah.
Trust
that
me,
one-
no, you
yeah.
don't. No, you don't.
yeah. Well, with abductions, I think there's a scary aspect to it of like, damn, why would they be taking us? But then if you kind of make it more realistic, it's kind of the same way of like, imagine in a chimpanzee culture, if they can communicate, you can hear them talk, and they talk about these legends of their ancestors being taken by
right,
these people,
right.
by these other beings. It's the
Mm.
same thing. And you'd ask the person that took that monkeys, like, bro, I'm doing science. Like, I got to learn about these monkeys.
So we're like, maybe we're lower life forms to them.
Yes. And for them, it's just science. They want to study us, you know?
Because we don't think twice about testing on animals or,
No.
Nope.
you know,
Catching a butterfly and
or yeah.
bringing it home.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the same thing to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you guys believe that
What was
the
that one with Blue Planet?
Earth?
Blue. What?
Earth 2.
there's a cartoon movie
Uh-huh.
and it has like some of the trippiest, coolest like sound.
Avatar.
No,
Fantastic
no,
Planet.
Oh, cartoon animated.
Fantastic Planet.
That's an incredible movie.
Fantastic.
I've never even
It's
heard
a
of
French
that.
film. It's an animated film.
Yes.
Beautiful
That's
movie.
Yes.
fantastic
But
planet.
the humans.
Probably, yeah.
Planet fantastique.
Somebody cut his mic off real quick.
No, we can put it up on screen though. It is cool.
It's awesome.
If you're into aliens and stuff like that, it's a
But
cool
like,
movie.
it's kind of the same thing though. Like humans are like the aliens'
the
pets.
pets. Yeah.
Basically. It was
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really trippy.
Yeah.
Really
Pretty
trippy.
I mean,
Well-
we have dogs as pets, you know.
True.
What do you
But
think?
imagine somebody trying to like tell you like when it's time to eat
Yeah.
and like when it's time to go and like put a leash around like all like
Some people pay for that kind
Some
of
people-
control over their lives.
I took it there.
You haven't been to K-Town in LA? Wait.
whoa.
So let me ask you,
Whoa there.
That was real though. That was real.
what do you think? Okay, so the abduction phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
There are people out there who say they have been implanted with devices,
Mhm.
and there's a doctor, and I think this doctor recently actually passed away. But there's plenty
Passed away.
plenty of film footage from his surgeries where he has taken out just anomalous.
Silicone, right?
No, what happened was, so you can actually watch this on the internet where they're doing
Yeah.
alien implant removals.
I've seen a few.
So there was some tiny little device, looked like a seed, but it wasn't a seed, meaning it was of an actual material, a combination of materials, and they removed it. And it doesn't cause any inflammation in the body. There was no inflammatory response. The body was not rejecting it. They found out that it was emitting a frequency. Silence.
Could they trace it?
Yeah. That's why we're here,
And
Sharif.
where did it lead them?
That's why we've invited you tonight. It was straight
So they
back to
get
your
the
house.
seed- No, seriously. So they get the seed. There's a frequency. What do they do next?
So they know that it's emitting a frequency.
But they can't do nothing about
They
it.
can do anything about it. So they take
so
it
some
out.
Joe Schmo could have like swallowed that from Radio Shack and it's in there, or is it like in their tissue?
But it's just a piece of material. How is it emitting a frequency?
right.
So when they were trying to get it, and you can see this in the footage of the surgery, and he's going at it, it moved
Whoa.
As he was
away.
getting closer
yes,
to it?
it moved away.
Oh, that's some like
Whoa.
Prometheus stuff for sure.
See, now I'm interested.
Yeah, so
That's
watch
pretty
that.
crazy.
And that doctor had
Doctor
passed away.
Who?
Exactly.
Doctor Who.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Got
was a Doctor Who.
Yeah. We should talk about before it ends. We should talk about Journey to Planet Serpo. Riz put me on this book a few years ago.
Okay, Journey to Serpo.
I've never read a book so fast, and whether it's true or not, the information in it is so complex and like
It's so detailed.
Groundbreaking.
Either this is the best science fiction writer
yes,
that I've ever read,
yeah,
or this is real,
exactly.
and I believe it is real.
Mm-hmm.
The book called Journey to Serpo is based on this premise or this belief or this evidence or whatever you want to say, the myth, the story that after the Roswell crash, that there was one alien who survived, and then he actually took him years to develop a communications device to phone home. Did you know this part?
Mm-hmm.
So the ET part, the ET
Yeah.
story is from
No,
this.
Close Encounters,
Wow.
E.T. all took
relate-
parts from this book.
Okay, from
Yeah.
this book. Anyway, there was a rescue mission to come back and get this alien who was left over, who they called EBE,
Yeah, Ebens.
extraterrestrial biological entity, and that's where the term ET came from. But they wanted to change it. So anyway, there was a deal that was struck that there was going to be an exchange program, and their planet, the way that they said it sounded like was they were saying Serpo. So maybe it was something else, but the way
Our
that these aliens,
translation.
that was
Yeah.
our understanding of that. And the mission was for 7 years. And a team went to this planet, and they left 2 people with us, and 7 of our people, or 7 of our people went there. It was
Oh wow.
they lived on that planet,
Like a real
and
foreign
only
exchange
2.
student.
Yes,
One of them died on the way there.
one died on the way there. The 2 stayed.
Yeah.
Whoa.
By the way, they were there longer than 7 years. I think they were there like 11 years because
Mhm.
they couldn't tell the time anymore. All their devices broke. They couldn't tell what year it was, how many years had passed. It was a different solar system. And the diary and the details of this program are in this book. And if you have a critical mind and you read this and you understand literature, there's just a way that this is written that you know that this is a person writing this of what actually happened, because there's details that you would never think of. And I've read science fiction, I've read a lot of books, and I consider myself someone who's able to to feel authenticity in something, and it reads so authentically, and 1 or 2 made it back after 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And where are they now?
They're all gone.
2 of
They
them, I
say
think,
nobody
stayed.
knows.
Yeah.
2 stayed on the
2
planet.
stayed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
when
read
they
the
when
book.
they
I
describe the
can't do that.
planet,
When they describe the
this was
planet.
a big thing for me. Is like on paper, you're like, if I get invited, I'm going. If they invite me, I'm going.
Mhm.
Right. But after reading that book, I was like, Earth is kind of dope. I don't know, like, because they explain it how like there's really not too much individuality. Like they're very monk-like, and they all look very similar, dress the same. They all have
The
assigned
food is
roles.
very simple. There's no
Food is
vari-
like
remember that.
oatmeal mush. It's
like
Communism.
yeah, right. It's pretty funny, but I wouldn't want to go. Basically, is what I'm saying. you
Yeah.
know? And I think there was a few cool things, like they were saying how they could expand the human life to about 150 years,
Yes.
and how the human body's not designed to go beyond 150 years,
Mhm.
which is incredible to me. But yeah, I wouldn't go if I was invited.
Reef, would you?
I probably have to take that. Yeah.
Really?
I'm down, bro. I just want.
Man.
I just want to see what else is out there. Like before this shell is. I don't.
You're gonna
need it
miss the
anymore.
Game of Thrones remake of season 8.
I'm glad. Thank God.
Are they remaking the game?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
in my mind,
I don't want
they
to
are.
be here for that. Jon
Yeah.
Snow's like 80, just coming through.
Would you
I'm
go,
good.
EJ, if there was a exchange program?
I would definitely go. I would want to come back, but who knows how it would feel once I'm over there.
I gotta see like a
Who knows?
flyer of the planet I'm going to. Like I gotta know.
I'm definitely I'm very curious. Like Sharif says, I'm very curious, but I wouldn't want to stay there. I don't think I want to live
It's
there
a
forever.
fascinating book, Journey to Serpo.
Yeah, check it out if you haven't. It's really good.
Yeah, there's a whole understanding of. Well, I want to say that we're trying to really like kind of surrender to a new understanding, because there's so much resistance of what is out there, who really knows the truth.
Mm-hmm.
In X-Files, it said the truth is out there.
Mm-hmm. I want to believe.
I want to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's so many things that we don't know that other people on the planet know,
Mm-hmm.
who have more access or power than us.
Or experiences.
Yeah. And then there are people who are maybe living on a farm somewhere who have been in contact
Mm.
for many, many years and know everything,
Mhm.
and they're never going to say.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do the research, it's just fascinating to talk. I could talk about this
All day.
like all day long. There's so many incidences, but I wanted to say to everybody who's watching, to go and do your own research and watch some of those documentaries. And they're important to watch because, look, you can get so wrapped up in the density of this planet, of
The
all the things going
minutia.
on. And you know what's interesting? Ronald Reagan had said this in a speech to the UN one time.
Mm.
And I think I was like, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he said in front of the UN, he goes, I often wonder what it would take to unite us. He goes, what if an alien force from outside our solar system were to come? He started talking about spaceships and aliens.
Mm.
And people,
We'd all
half
come
the people were
together.
like, yeah, we'd all come together, right? Because then maybe we'd fight the aliens, or maybe
we'd have a common enemy.
we'd have a
instead of
common
each other.
enemy. And then I remember being a kid and thinking, well, what if they're our friends?
Mm-hmm.
Then years later, when I was reading the Serpo material, they told him in that book, I don't think you remember, they debriefed
Reagan.
on the entire Serpo thing, so maybe he knew.
Mm.
So all these things that are being pieced together.
Whoa.
Mm.
There's a
So-
lot of stuff out there, man.
I know the truth is out
Yeah.
there.
You got to figure it out for yourself.
Have
you
an
know?
open mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have an open mind.
No
an
one
open
knows
heart.
for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
And also, it's just like, what is more fascinating than that? There can be life, outside of Earth.
Yeah, life is boring if you
To
don't
me,
have
there's
that.
nothing more.
Yeah.
Yeah, life sucks without
Yeah.
that
right.
possibility.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And then
it's fun to explore.
we'll talk about it more. 'Cause
Yeah,
I got more to say.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
seriously.
Well, we'll sign off. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This is The Game Room. I'm Riz.
Peace,
EJ.
Donte.
Reef.
Be well.